Hey guys, we're going to take a minute and talk about all the various types of owner financing, creative type techniques as well. So if you found this video helpful, take a moment and like us and comment below if you'd like to hear something different as well. So let's take a moment and just talk about some different types of true owner financing. Now guys, owner financing is the broad generic term. A lot of people think that subject to is not owner financing, or a wraparound mortgage might be owner financing. In reality, there are three direct types of owner financing. There is a direct owner finance from the seller who has no debt on the property, where they're just simply selling you the house and they become your bank direct. The next, of course, is the subject to transaction, which is where you're agreeing to take over the payments of the transaction, but you're not assuming the loan. Now, with the subject to transaction, you might incorporate a second lien between you and your seller for all or part of their equity. There is a wraparound mortgage, which is where either the seller is conveying to the investor or the investor to the homeowner the property using a wraparound mortgage, which simply means that there is an existing mortgage on the property and this new loan, of course, is wrapping around that existing first lien. Now the last one of that category that really is not used too much is an assumption. A lot of people think that you can just go out and assume a loan, and there are some loans that say that they are assumable. But guys, by the time you go through and try to assume a loan, you may as well go ahead and qualify for a whole new loan. Most lenders that I see today really don't go through the assumption process at all. So next, let's take a minute and talk about other creative techniques that are associated with owner financing. The first one is the contract for deed, which is the conveyance of what we call equitable title. Equitable title is kind of squirrely because it's not full legal title, such as giving a deed to somebody. Very simply put, a contract for deed says when the buyer does X, such as makes 100 payments of $1,000 each, the seller will give them the deed to the property or give them something pursuant to the terms of whatever that contract for deed says. And so we call that equitable because the buyer is not getting that full legal title. They're getting something less than legal title that we call equitable title. So next is a lease purchase and a lease option. And these two are very similar to each other. Of course, an option agreement is where the buyer has the right to purchase the home for a pre-negotiated sales price. Maybe they put some money up front as an option fee that is now non-refundable. So if they elect not to buy the house, they lose that fee. Now, that oftentimes is associated with a rental agreement so that the buyer with the option moves in the house, lives there, and has the option to buy it. But you don't have to have a lease associated with the option to buy. They could be very distinct in an instance. Now the other part and offshoot of a lease option is a lease purchase. Now a lease purchase assumes the same as a lease option. There could be a fee paid up front, maybe not. It assumes that the buyer has the option to buy the property, cash, or under other terms and conditions. But often when you have a lease purchase, what is included is a portion of their monthly payment is going to be applied to their closing costs, down payment, or the sales price of the property in some format, should they elect to do that. Now, of course, if you're working on a lease option or a lease purchase, make sure you understand your state's property code and ensure you can utilize a lease purchase or a lease option properly in your state. So the last part of this are some other tools that we utilize in creative financing. The land trust and sometimes the assignment of contract, assigning a creative finance deal to a back-end third-party investor or homeowner. Of course, the assignment's pretty straightforward. We are assigning it for a fee. If you utilize an assignment, guys, please ensure that your front-end contract and assignments are done properly. Understand, that is what you are assigning to your back-end buyer. You don't want your back-end buyer and your seller getting together to go through and execute proper disclosures along the way. So ensure that you've done those properly up front when you assign the transaction. Now, from there, the land trust. And it's used widely out there. I think there's a lot of misinformation about a land trust and when to use it, when not to use it, and what it really does for you. So first off, I like to use a land trust if I'm buying a home subject to and I'm going to rent that property, fix and flip it, or maybe live in it. But if I'm going to do a wraparound transaction to a back-end buyer, I think utilizing a land trust is a little bit futile because the conveyance into a trust is a violation of due on sale, and certainly the conveyance out to a back-end buyer, to a third party, to the wraparound buyer in the back, is also a violation of due on sale. So knowing when to use that is appropriate. And I know a lot of investors want to utilize this for anonymity and things of that nature, which you can do. But if you're going to buy a home into a trust, guys, if you intend to sell it out, make sure you do things properly and realize what it is you need to do and how you need to incorporate the right documentation along the way. So if you found this video helpful, take a moment to like this video and make any comments below for future things you would like to learn and hear about. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want to learn more about creative finance and how to do it properly, check us out at the ownerfinancernetwork.com. We'll see you guys next time.